Just kind of grew up in Paris, listening to lots of music. Started with listening to lots of hip hop. Thanks to my brother who put me onto the Beastie Boys when I was young, early 90s, mid 90s. Got into French hip hop in the late 97, something like that. Then discovered UK hip hop, and I was like, oh cool, let's go check out what's going on over there. My name is Alexis Blondin. I run the Total Refreshment Center, which is a venue and studios in Stockton, and I am the co-founder of Church of Sound with my friend Spencer Martin. The Total Refreshment Center, I started this place 6 years ago. I was just basically looking for a space, originally just to set up a studio, and found on Gumtree that this place was available. And the worst Gumtree I'd ever. You'd see really bad pictures, no light, with one line saying in really bad English, perfect for music scholars. But the thing is, I recognized the place. I knew this place as a Jamaican social club. I'd been to a few times. That's how I found it. And then slowly started getting people in that I was really kind of regarding as people I wanted to work with. Did the first gig with Sonic Soccer 96. Dan and Max, who were also in Comet is Coming. And they played loads of times here, and we became friends. And then slowly, just musicians started kind of making it their home. So another track that I selected is a Flute Thing by the Blues Project, which is notoriously been sampled by the Beastie Boys. We found the record in my hometown. So my hometown is just outside Paris, in the suburbs, and there's this record shop that's just the oddest place ever. So it's a guy that used to sell newspaper and magazines, and then all of a sudden the thing closes down and opens up as a record shop. He's the dopest record shop ever. It's just like this gem that not many people know about, and he's got like an incredible selection of like psych rock stuff, 60s, 70s, and now he's got jazz records. So anyway, just finding that record in that record shop in my hometown, which is the most unreal experience ever. It's like, and it's one of those things when you just find a record and you like, inside you're just buzzing so hard, but you don't want to show the guy because he's going to charge you loads of money for it. But you kind of like inside just like, oh my God. Like original pressing from US as well, which cost quite a lot, and it was like 12 euros. Yeah, so I'm not going to tell the name of that record shop because best kept secret. So one of the tracks I've chosen is one of the more recent ones that I have rinsed. And the way I've discovered it is very odd. I was with my parents in Russia last year for Christmas, and we stopped into an Irish pub. So we're in an Irish pub in St. Petersburg, Russia, and this Afro-Cuban jazz tune comes up on the radio. I'm like, oh my days, what is this? So get my Shazam out, find out what it is, and it turned out to be this English gentleman called Kenny Graham, and it totally blew me away. There's not many people in England that did this, so. And then just kind of finding his story that he did these 2 albums that actually didn't really make it commercially back then. He ended up just giving up music altogether and started fixing ticket machines in Clapham North. So like the whole journey of the music, I was just like, this is unreal. Like, what are the odds that I'm in Russia in an Irish pub discovering some Afro-Cuban jazz from London from the 50s, and it's a banger as well. So yeah, that's Mongol Walk, and it's a banger. Check it out. So I've selected this track by Maximum Joy to put a bit of post-punk in that mix because it's music that I was really obsessed with 10, 13 years ago when I discovered it. I'm still really into it, but right now I discovered this sound and I became obsessed. Just because it's new textures, new way of production, but kind of like DIY, and you know, the mix of like funk rhythms, but some dub kind of production with like delays and stuff like that, and also very danceable for a lot of it. Maximum Joy was definitely, it totally blew my mind. I think I must have discovered it through reading this book, Repeat Up and Start Again by Simon Reynolds, which I really recommend because it's a Bible for post-punk. There's all kinds of really cool stories. Church of Sound, I started with my friend Spencer Martin. That was 2 years ago. Basically at the time, he had a little home studio at the top floor of the church in Haggerston. And then he just had the idea of doing a gig in the church and got really excited by the idea because also like it's a new space, it stimulates you to think of ways you can do it. And Spencer, being the guy that he is, he managed to convince that church in Clapton to let us do a gig. That was the first one 2 years ago. And it's just the best thing. It's one of my favorite things I'm doing. I picked the label International Anthem because it's been a new discovery this year. They basically came last year to a collaboration between musicians from Chicago and some musicians from the London scene. And it was the most inspiring experience having them over. They basically spent a whole week in TLC, starting with like 2 days in the recording studio with Makaya Craven, collaborating with people like Ashley Henry, Theon Cross, Nube Garcia. Then 2 days of gigs with, again, the same idea of collaboration. Second night was Henry Wu with Makaya Craven, Soweto Kinch. The first one was again Makaya with Nube Garcia, Theon Cross, Joe Armon Jones. The nights were incredible, like the vibe was really, really on point. And then after those 2 days of gigs, the next day brought producers to remix it. I just love the process. The process is incredible. And a lot of the recordings that come out on the label are very site-specific as well, which I really love. You know, it's not like the sound of the studio, it's the sound of just them bringing a portable studio in different spaces. And I really believe that spaces influence the way people play. Yeah, one of the favorite labels at the moment.
Blondin.